कुंज विहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय विष्णुपाद परमसुराजिकचर्य स्तोत्र सतीश डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्तवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमसुराजिकचर्य स्तोत्र सतीश डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Shri Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Ajnanatamrandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shvapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadotam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tabda Ganjana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhishya Kripa Sindhubhye Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Itkripatamham Vande Shri Gurundanataranam Paramanandamadavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 21, text number 17, the top chapter entitled The Conversation Between Manu and Kardama. Can you give me the internet? I can read it from the online. That's easier. I'm unable to read it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lokamscha lokanugatan pasumscha hitva srutaste charanatapat. I can't say. Hitva srutaste charanatapatram. Parasparam tvad gunavadasidu. Parasparam tvad gunavadasidu. Piyusha niryapita deha dharma. Piyusha niryapita deha dharma. Piyusha niryapita deha dharma. Lokamscha lokanugatan pasumscha hitva sritaste charanatapatram. Parasparam tvad gunavadasidu. Piyusha niryapita deha dharma. Lokan, worldly affairs, cha, and Lokanugatan, the followers of worldly affairs, Pasun, beastly, cha, and Hitva, having given up, Sritaha, taken shelter, Te, your charana of lotus feet, Atapatram, the umbrella, Parasparam, with one another, Tvat, your guna of qualities, Vada, by discussion, Sidhu, intoxicating, Piyusha, by the nectar, Niryapita, extinguished, Deha Dharmaha, the primary necessities of the body. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the primary necessities of the material body. After describing the necessity of married life, Kardamuni asserts that marriage and other social affairs are stereotyped regulations for persons who are addicted to material sense enjoyment. The principles of animal life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, are actually necessities of the body. But those who engage in transcendental Krishna consciousness, giving up all the stereotyped activities of this material world, are freed from social conventions. Conditioned souls are under the spell of material energy or eternal time, past, present, and future. But as soon as one engages in Krishna consciousness, he transcends the limits of the past and present and becomes situated in the eternal activities of the soul. One has to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions in order to enjoy material life. But those who have taken to devotional service of the Lord are not afraid of the regulations of this material world. Such devotees do not care for the conventions of the material activities. They boldly take to that shelter, which is like an umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death. Constant transmigration of the soul from one body to another is the cause of suffering in the material existence. This conditioned soul in material existence is called samsara. One may perform good work and take his birth in a very nice material condition, But the process under which birth and death take place is like a terrible fire. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, in his prayer to the spiritual master, has described this. Samsara, or the repetition of birth and death, is compared to a forest fire. A forest fire takes place automatically, without anyone's endeavor, by the friction of the dried wood, and no fire department or sympathetic person can extinguish it. The raging forest fire can be extinguished only when there is a constant downpour of water from the cloud. The cloud is compared to the mercy of the spiritual master. By the grace of the spiritual master, the cloud of the mercy of the personality of Godhead is brought in, and then only, when the rains of Krishna consciousness fall, can the fire of material existence be extinguished. This is also explained here. In order to find freedom from the stereotyped conditional life of material existence, one has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, not in the manner in which the impersonalists indulge, but in devotional service, chanting and hearing of the activities of the Lord. Only then can one be freed from the actions and reactions of the material existence. It is recommended here that one should give up the conditional life of this material world and the association of the so-called civilized human beings who are simply following in a polished way the same stereotyped principles of eating, sleeping, defending and mating. Chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord is described here as Tvad Gunavada Sidhu. Only by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord can one forget the intoxication of mental existence. Hare Krishna. I neither have any qualification nor do I have any realization. So I seek the blessings of all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Whatever I heard in the past, I just repeat. Trying to be your humble servant. So Kardamuni, he got the, Supreme Lord was present before Kardamuni. So Kardamuni got darshan of the Supreme Lord, which is very difficult. So the previous verse is telling, "Oh my Lord, you are the master and leader of all living entities." Maharaj, may I bless you? Under your direction, all conditioned souls, as if bound by rope, are constantly engaged in satisfying their desires. Following them, O embodiment of religion, I also bear oblations for you who are eternal time. So, this material world is created for those people who wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. We were all in the spiritual world, but one day we declared rebellion. We wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. That's why we came to this material world. I have a question for all of you. How many of you decided I would take birth on this particular date in this world? Did anyone decide? I'll take birth, If I take birth in 1990 or 2000, it's a very congenial environment. Let me take birth. Did anyone decide like that? Nobody. Means karmana daiva netrena jantur dehopapataye striyo pravishyodram pumsorita kanasriya. We helplessly take birth based on our karma. It is, Einstein calls this universe orderly universe. This universe is made with such a precision based on our karma. At a particular time, we take birth into this world from this father and this mother. And a very expert astrologer, if we give him or her the right time of our birth, he can tell you majority of our life's events. So the point I'm trying to make is Ichha dvesha samuttena dandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargiyanti parantapa. When we try to enjoy independent of Krishna, when we realized it is not possible, dvesha, we declared envy. So we are present in this world means we have a flag of envy that we exhibit through different activities of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. Prabhupada calls it stereotyped. Somebody is a manager, engineer, a professor, they are not immune from these activities. When we declared rebellion, we are given a punishment. What is that punishment? We are put into a body, put into matter. What is the problem with this world? Everything is a dead matter. Spirit soul can never find eternal happiness by interacting with dead matter. Even if you have the best foods, best type of recreation, sex life, even if you have so much money, one can never be 100% happy. For sure. Bhavanam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sammatma sudurlabha. So before I explain the translation of this verse, Jayapatak Maharaj says, two things everyone has to experience. You have to lose your loved ones. Two, you have to experience the changes that you don't expect in this world. These two things everyone has to go through. You have to see your loved ones depart from this world. And second thing is, your life will go through the changes that you don't expect. Some are good, some are bad. For sure, everyone will go through this. You all agree with this? He said that, not me. So Prabhupada coined this phrase, stereotyped. What is that stereotyped? Eating, mating, sleeping and defending. This body is just a machine. Mind listening to senses causes bondage. Mind listening to intelligence. Intelligence means purified intelligence. Paramatma speaks through that. Causes liberation. But what is the significance of Kali Yuga? Rather than trying to get out of this condition, we are all trying to make our enjoyment with the matter, we are trying to make it better. In other words, we are incriminating ourselves more and more and more. My experience, this much happiness in this world, how much? This much suffering. You all agree, maybe 20 years ago I did something wrong for 15 minutes. Mind keeps on reminding you, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. Every time you remember, you suffer. We don't even remember how much we enjoyed. But the repercussion of that, we again and again, mind reminds us and makes us suffer. Mind makes us suffer. Finally, my conclusion, this much happiness, this much suffering. This much happiness, this much suffering. Beauty, nobody wants to get out of this, get rid of this. That is the power of this universe. In second canto of Bhagavatam, there is a chapter, Brahma's prayers for creative energy. Krishna told Brahma, all these rebellious souls, you create a Disneyland where they will go through this much suffering for this much happiness, but they should never give it up. Brahma said, my lord, I don't have that type of creative energy. I have a question for you. If you go to this Skermaran Street train station, somebody will slap you. Every time you go, somebody will slap you. Will you go there? Then he'll go to Nevin Street. You will not go there. But here, many people know people die. Many people know old age will come, disease will come, death will come. I heard Corona alone claimed 10 million lives in India. So we see so many people dying. But I don't think I die. So can you believe? So Brahma prayed for that creative energy. Krishna gave that creative energy. And we are all in the Disneyland where we are willing to go through this much suffering for this much happiness. Wow, what is Krishna's intelligence? Amazing, right? How many of you appreciate? But then I told that verse, you try to enjoy again and again and again and again and again. But going through birth, old age, disease and death. Birth, old age, disease and death. One lifetime. I am trying to enjoy, but why is this imposed on me? Birth, old age, disease and death. In between, misery due to body and mind, misery due to other living entities, misery due to nature. Who is behind it? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Oh, Krishna is behind it. I will not engage in this. Rather, I will utilize my life to purify my existence. I have a question for all of you. Does anyone go to bathroom and stay there for the whole day? and you ask somebody, hey, come out bathroom, especially upstairs brahmachari ashram. Come out, we need to use it. No, I'm feeling very good here. Nobody stays in the bathroom for a long time. Bathroom is meant for something. What is that? Clean up and come out. In India, many people go on to the train tracks. Nobody sits there eternally. You finish and come out. Likewise, this world is actually a purificatory place. Butterfly goes through 4 stages. Larva, I forgot first one, but the second one is larva, pupa, imago. So this, it hatches the eggs, and from that comes caterpillar. Caterpillar eats so many leaves and sleeps. When caterpillar sleeps, one cocoon is formed, and from its body only. Then it struggles to come out, back and forth, back and forth. One day one gentleman saw that, it is struggling, so let me help. He himself broke it. So caterpillar could not came out as butterfly, but no wings. Because you have to struggle to develop the wings. How many of you are understanding? So if somebody, tries to bring you out, you cannot. Then he understood he did a mistake. So this stage, the stage we are in, it is like a pupa stage. We are struggling to become a butterfly. How many of you know dragonflies? Dragonflies, I heard this. They all live underwater before they become dragonfly. And they would make friendships and say, hey, whenever somebody goes up, they will never come back and tell them what transformation they go through. Then one insect says, when I go above the water, then I'll come back and I'll tell you my experience. But when it goes through the transformation, when caterpillar becomes a butterfly will never tell the caterpillars, hey, if you go through struggle, you'll become a beautiful butterfly. Or these insects, when they go out of the water, they'll get wings and they'll become dragonflies. They can never enter into water. That stage is like a sleeping stage. Once you wake up, you don't even remember you dreamt. This stage is like that. But one dragonfly will come, one butterfly will come and tell the caterpillars, that is Guru. Hey, if you go through this, you will never need to become a caterpillar. I'm mixing, sorry, I unnecessarily brought dragonfly, but at least you understood what I'm telling, right? Once it becomes butterfly doesn't know I was a caterpillar before. It was a bad dream. Same thing like us. We are all going through so much struggle. But once you are liberated, once you develop your spiritual body, you don't even remember. Or you may remember it as one devotee said, you remember this as a bad dream. So Guru comes and tells, struggle. Because that struggle makes you happy. Eventually. Yesterday I was listening. What is that? Devotees are all going to Rath Yatra in 5th Avenue. So imagine you got into the train, but the train is crowded. There is not even place. Will you tolerate that train journey or not? Why? Your mind is absorbed in Rath Yatra. I will go and take part in Rath Yatra. I will see this devotee, that devotee, I will see that devotee, I will see that spiritual master, I will see spiritual master, I will see Chandrasekhar Maharaj. Wow, you are so much absorbed in the upcoming event, you will tolerate this train journey. How many of you agree? Likewise, if you tapodivyam putrakayena sudhya tasmat brahma saukyam anantam. My dear children, Bharat Maharaj, Rishabhdev is telling to his children headed by Bharat, because of whom India got the name Bharat. He said, my dear children, human life is not meant for eating, mating, sleeping and defending. Nayan deha deho bhajan ruloke kashtan kaman arhat vidbujam he. The way you love halwa, pig loves stool. Nothing is great about eating. Vidbujam means pig. So animals eat, we eat. Animals sleep, we sleep. Animals defend, we defend. Animals mate, we mate. But certain areas, animals are much better actually today. So human life, tapodivyam, tapasya, do austerity. Even though we don't want to come to Mangalarti, come. Even though I don't want to chant my rounds, no. I have a question for all of you. You did 12 rounds and afternoon. Another half an hour, 4 rounds. When you put your finger in the bead bag, will you think like that or not? Next half an hour, 4 rounds. Will you think like that or not? Definitely many people think. But when you sit down with your friend, you will not think next half an hour only. Or when you go to prasadam hall, hey, I'll finish this eating prasad and come out. Do you think like that? No. You may sit down with them, with the devotees for half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour. But when it comes to japa, 3 rounds, 20 minutes. Yes or no? Anyone calculates like that? I calculate, let me tell you. I am raising my hand. The point I am trying to make is, let me finish and do other things. As soon as I finish my rounds, I'll go outside. But when you sit down with some devotee talking, you don't calculate the time. When you sit and eat, you don't calculate the time. The conditioning. But if we train ourselves, this chanting is very good for me. It will get me out of pupa stage and make me reach butterfly stage. You will continue. Day after day, month after month, year after year. So, one should be convinced of the temporary nature of this world, temporary nature of the material pleasures. One should be convinced. Yahi sansparsaja bhoga dukkha yona yevate adyantavantam kavanteya natteshu ramate Buddha. Arjuna, material pleasures are temporary. Means prasadam at 9 o'clock it starts, but of course prasadam is spiritual activity. But any material activity, any material pleasure, after 10 minutes it ends. After 15 minutes it ends. It is a beginning and end, but that will lead to suffering. There is no pure pleasure in this world. Every pleasure is associated with pain only. Dukkha yonai evate. That's why people who are very intelligent, they don't take part in the material pleasures. Apart from the fact that it is temporary, it is also illusory. How many of you want me to prove material pleasure is illusory? Okay, Prabhuji is raising both hands. How many of you went to college? Okay. So you're in the college, you're very hungry, you went to cafeteria, you ordered, just giving an example, gulab jamun, rasagulla, for a change samosa, you put everything in your plate, you're hungry, you're about to eat. How many of you like rasagulla, gulab jamun, samosa? You're about to eat, your friend comes. Hey, you're here? I'm waiting for you. Past half an hour, I'm searching for you. What happened? Just now results came. We all passed. You only failed. Just now results came. We all passed. You only failed. You remember, apart from that, yesterday interview, we all got the jobs. Only you didn't get job. We are all selected. Oh, you're eating? Eat. You all passed. I only failed. You all got the job. I didn't get it. You want to tell you don't care. You take the rasgulla and put in your mouth. No taste. Why? You all passed, I only failed. Mind is disturbed. Any experience? Mind is fully disturbed. If he or she had told, we all failed, there is some happiness. And you'll find the taste. But you all passed, I only failed. So, what Krishna does, so that we can enjoy, what Krishna does is, he makes our mind peaceful. Then we can enjoy that sense object. If we don't have sufficient good karma, even if that object that gives us enjoyment, if the mind is disturbed, you cannot enjoy. Somebody dies in your home, even if there are 100 rasgullas, nobody enjoys. Mind is disturbed. That's why it is the pleasure is illusory. The pleasure is illusory. That's why Guru comes to wake us up to the reality. These are all temporary, fleeting pleasures. And on the top of it, this material world is a forest fire of metal existence. Samsara dava nalalida loka. Tranaya karunya ganaganat. That's why if you want to get out of this metal existence, tad vijnanardam sagurum evabhigachet. If you want to get out of this metal world, so we need a shelter of, we need to take the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. Very important. Srila Prabhupada was staying in Radha Damodar temple last month. I was actually, in January I was there. Very close to Sevakunj Vamsivat, where Rasalila takes place. Why? He has to leave, he had to live in Vrindavan. And why should he come to the forest fire of metal existence, New York City? Why he did not go to some remote village of America, Florida, where people are relatively pious, or some remote part of Pennsylvania, people who are very pious. Why he ended up in New York? That is Guru. Where you see most fallen people, their Guru would go and preach and deliver them. That is one reason Balram loved Duryodhan. What is the qualification of Duryodhan? No qualification. He was a Kali personified. He was imbued with all the impurities. For that reason, Balramji loved Duryodhana actually. So, what is that? After describing the necessity of married life, Kardamani asserts that marriage and other social affairs are stereotyped. So conditions also. Actually, Vedic life means Varnashram Dharma. Vedic life means Varnashram Dharma. Okay, you have greed, you have anger, you have envy, pride, lust, great. Get married and take responsibility. Take responsibility. And what is that? Prabhupada came to America, he performed the marriage. The first marriage he performed, Michael Grant became Mukunda Das, now he's Mukunda Maharaj. So Zain became Janaki. Maharaj Prabhupada performed the marriage actually. So there is a concession given where conditioned souls can very responsibly enjoy with Krishna in the center so that they would together progress on the path of progress on spiritual path. But taking responsibility is very important. Otherwise, what happens? It will cause conditioning. So, but apart from taking shelter of Guru, etan nirvidhyamananam ichatam akuto bayam yoginam rupa nirnitam harer namana kirtanam. This will work a sure, short way. What is that sure, short way? If we, in the association of devotees, listen to the Krishna's glories, Nama Rupa Guna Leela, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's activities, then our heart will be cleansed. We'll get rid of the impurities. And eventually, we'll be able to awaken that love of God. Hare Namana Kirtanam. Haridas Thakur, what is Haridas Thakur's confidence? When we chant the holy name, what happens is, the body becomes spiritualized. What happens is, the body becomes spiritualized. Haridas Thakur is telling the Kazi, Kanda, hoy deha yadi ay pran, tabu ami vadane nachadi harinam. If you cut my body into pieces, every piece will chant Hare Krishna. How? Why? When sannyasis, when somebody is spiritually very advanced, they are buried because their body becomes spiritualized. How is the body spiritualized? Today it's dead matter actually. 206 bones, blood, flesh and marrow. But when you chant the holy name is Krishna. Holy name is Krishna. I heard a story in my childhood. You want to hear? This lady, a Vittal devotee, nice devotee. So one day, there were so many, the passers-by, they were hearing the quarrel between two ladies. One is this very devoted lady, another is some neighbor. So they are quarreling about the cow dung cakes they made. I don't know how many of you have seen. Cow dung cakes? Cow dung cakes. So they would take the cow dung, they would throw on the wall. And they will put with the finger they make a hole. So these ladies are quarreling. The onlookers were surprised. Hey, this is such a great devotee. She is quarreling with the neighbor for the cow dung cakes. Anyway, they went close and said, why are you quarreling? She said, I made these cow dung cakes and that lady is claiming she made these. She is lying. I made them. Then the onlooker said, then what is the proof? Who will tell that these are made by you and those are made by her? This lady said, listen carefully, I made these cakes. When I was making these cakes, I was chanting the name of Krishna. The proof is, whichever cakes I have made with cow dung, if you take it out and put it in your ear, you will hear Krishna's name. That is great. So that is the proof. I have made them. Really? So one person went and, he scraped that cow dung cake and put it in the ear. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, amazing. They said, these cow dung cakes are made by her only. Means, not only she was spiritual, I mean, her form was spiritualized. Whatever she was dealing with, whatever the objects, they were also spiritualized. Should I tell one more? Interesting or not? More. One day, devotees went to the temple of Vittal, means Krishna actually. There Krishna's, the deity form started, tears started flowing from Krishna's deity. Real story. So one devotee went, "My Lord, what happened?" Crying. Krishna said, the deity spoke. "My devotee, he passed away." He passed away. Wow, my Lord, Sadhunam hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham madanyate na janati naham tebhyo managapi. So in Ambarisha Pakyanam, 9th canto, so devotees keep Krishna in their heart. Always Krishna is present in the heart of devotees. And devotees are also in Krishna's heart. That's why, my Lord, you're remembering about your devotee, how fortunate that devotee is. What can we do, my Lord? Krishna said, he always wanted to have his samadhi in my courtyard. So if you make samadhi for him in my courtyard, I'll be very happy. Really? All right. My Lord, where did he die? What is his name? He told. So he went there. What happened? This devotee was a construction laborer. There were 250 people. They were building a big wall, and the wall collapsed, and all 250 people died. How many? 250 people. So what happened? They arranged a mass cremation. By the time devotees went, the 250 people were cremated. And there was a huge pile of ashes of 250 people. So then they came back and told Krishna, "My Lord, you asked us only one desire, which we could not fulfill." Krishna said, "Why?" 250 people, they were all mass cremated. My Lord, how can we, out of 250 people, how can we identify the, this devotee's ashes? Krishna said, very simple. Chokamela throughout his life chanted my name. So if you pick up his bones and put in your ears, you will hear my name. So devotees went back and they started taking this, I don't know how many of you have seen, I have seen a lot in my life, with my father and my uncle. Once the body is cremated, these bones, they become pieces, such tiny, tiny, tiny. They become the bones become disintegrated just like that. But tiny pieces would be there. So the devotees, because it's Krishna's request, they started putting, but one place, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Amazing. They picked up all those bones that were chanting Krishna's name, and they brought and created a samadhi in the courtyard. That day I understood. Later I came to Krishna consciousness. Khanda Khanda Koride. What is that? Khanda Khanda. Yadi Yaya Pran Nachadi. What is it? Tabu Ami Vadane Nachadi Harinam. If you cut my body into pieces, every piece will chant Hare Krishna. Then I correlated with this sloka with that stories. Why? Haridas Thakur form has become so spiritualized by chanting the holy name. He said every piece will chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So the process works. Not that Prabhupada has created some concoction and imposed on us. So what is that? We all agree. In 1-2 months after coming to Krishna consciousness, we could give up our bad habits just like that. But some bad habits are deep rooted, so we can see them on the mental level. Actually, no problem, we should continue. Anartha Nivritti stage is the longest. Sometimes, you are chanting sincerely, but you are shaken up. I should not stay in the community. No, not like that. It is expected. Like that you are shaken up by lust, shaken up by anger, shaken up by greed, shaken up by envy. That means your bhakti is unsteady bhakti, anishtita bhakti. Continue. Why do we go to college? Because there is no knowledge. Why do we come to Krishna consciousness? Because we have impurity. Continue. Then what is the next stage after Anartha Nivritti? What is the next stage? Louder. Nishta. Steadiness. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Ekadesha Vartani, Bahudesha Vartani, Prayiki, Sampurna, 5 stages actually. But when you go to Nishta stage, they are there, but they will not bother you so much. The way, actually real goal of human life is, real goal of spiritual life is to become free from the effect of Maya, become free from the grip of Maya. Not become, what is that? GBC temple president, these are all external. Real success of spiritual life is go from Anartha Nivritti to Nishta to Ruchi to Asakti, Bhava, Prema. That is the real progress. But if we focus only externals, then what happens? We will have positions, but once in a while Maya will come and shake you up. When devotees see you so disturbed, they lose faith. That's why sthane sthita shrutigata tanuvan manobir, stay where you are, but add Krishna to your life. Give up, develop taste for the sincerity for the holy name. Come in the association of devotees. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then you will go to Nishta. It is there, but they will shake you up once in a while, but not so much. Then Ruchi, taste, Haribol. Then the grip will become further loosened. I am there, but it will not bother you. Asakti, once in a while it will come to the surface. Hey, I am there, but they will not bother you. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Sampurna, all the impurities are removed only. They will never come back. That happens only in a prema stage. And that is the reason why devotees, rather than focusing on Anartha Nivritti, they should also focus on Ardha Pravritti. Read Krishna stories. How Krishna subdued Kaliya. How Krishna killed Bakasur. How Krishna played with his friends. How Krishna shows so much love. How Krishna's interactions with the gopis. Actually Krishna killed. Do you know the power of Kamsa? What type of power Kamsa had? Putana became so subservient to Kamsa. From that point you can understand how powerful Kamsa was. Aghasur was servant of Kamsa. Bakasur was servant of Kamsa. This Kamsa was holding a sword. Who can kill him? Krishna just like that went with nothing in his hands, grabbed him and killed him. And nobody could believe it. To convince everyone, Kamsa died, Krishna dragged his body from where he was sitting to the arena, where Krishna was fighting with these wrestlers. So what Krishna dragged, and he sat on his chest and smashed down. He smashed him by left and right. So because Krishna is Supreme Lord, Kamsa died. Then he dragged him. Everyone was stunned. Krishna's friend is Sridhama. Hey, this is Krishna. He killed Kamsa just like that. He went and said, we should fight right now. I think you are not Krishna. How can you kill Kamsa just like that with no weapon? We should fight right now. Let us fight. And less than 3 minutes, they start fighting. Less than 3 minutes, Sridhama made Kamsa fall on the ground. He said, now I agree, you are Krishna only. Because that Krishna I can defeat. Can you believe Krishna who could kill Kamsa with no sword? With the sword in his hand. But Krishna was defeated by Sridhama. I really do not know how many of you understood. You understood what I said? Kamsa could kill Krishna could kill Kamsa, though Kamsa had sword, but Krishna was defeated by Sridhama. Can you understand Krishna's love? That is Krishna's love. Then Sridhama said, no, this is our Krishna only. Our Krishna, I can defeat him in 3 minutes. But that initially got it out. He could kill Kamsa. Is it Krishna, our Krishna, or some other Krishna? But when he defeated him in 3 minutes, he's our Krishna only. I can defeat him in 3 minutes. So that is Krishna's love. Anyway, the point I'm telling is spiritual life is so sweet. But unfortunately, we are in the material world. So when we stay in the association of devotees and discuss these pastimes, develop taste for prasad, develop taste for reading, develop taste for chanting, develop taste for Krishna's hearing, we will slowly progress to ruchi, taste. And then the grip of Maya will become further loosened and we make further progress. If I have spoken anything wrong, do excuse me as your humble servant. Very grateful for your patient audience. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment? Otherwise, we'll end it. Amma.
Hare Krishna. So I'm just curious because you were talking about reasons, like if someone has this thing like greed or anger, okay, then get married, but it feels like these are really bad qualities for someone to get married.
Okay, what is the question? That is your question?
Yeah, can you like explain why that's being recommended?
Vedic culture is Varnashram Dharma. Varnashram Dharma means you can, what is that? If you can do it without any support, that's fine, But usually, married life is there when two souls come together with an agreement. We will stay together and get rid of our impurities with Krishna, keeping Krishna in the center. That family life is a fort. It's like a fort. You can fight with material energy when you're in the fort. Sannyasis and brahmacharis, they're outside, they're exposed, 360 degrees. So, when you get the association at home, if you get the association of spouse who is a devotee, that's the biggest association actually, So, for example, Kardamuni and Devahuti, Kardamuni is very advanced, So, Kardamuni is like, what is that? Eventually they were married, So, marriage, like in Grihasthashram, is a fort, especially when wife and husband keep Krishna in the center. And the material pleasures, you can, in a very regular fashion, enjoy them and give birth to children, take care of them, and that way you will help the society. Prabhupada was telling, I was listening the other day. Brahmacharis, Vanaprasthas, Sannyas, 7, like if you think everyone 25, 25, 25, 25, Grihasthas also 25. 75 people are to be maintained by 25 Grihasthas. Because Vanaprasthis don't work, Brahmacharis don't work, Sannyasis don't work. So who has to work? Grihasthas have to work. So they work. And let me tell you, if the Grihastha ashram is very nice, these three ashramas, these three people, where do they come from? From Grihastha ashram. Brahmacharis don't come from air. They come from parents only, father and mother only, right? So if the father and mother, they live very wonderful spiritual, if they lead spiritual lives, this ashram will generate nice brahmacharis, nice grihasthas, nice vanaprasthas, nice sannyasis. So for that, the wife and husband, that's why it's called Garbhadhana Samskar. If they keep Krishna in the center and they work and in a very regulated way, they go through the family affairs, and that will breed, that will bring into existence brahmacharis, vanaprasthas and sannyas. You can also, it's every ashram is purifying, not that there is no 100% happiness anywhere. It is very purifying. If you understand that, this is not easy. Actually, any ashram is not easy. It's very difficult actually. But if you are firmly rooted in Krishna consciousness, then you'll be able to do it and you'll get Krishna's mercy. And with Krishna's mercy, you'll be able to get rid of all the impurities.
Thank you. Sorry, just one other question. So in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining how Kardama Muni is saying that married life is a material stereotype.
Married life is
a material stereotype. So you kind of explained that it's part of Varnashram Dharma. So what are some other things that are like material stereotypes that we should not really...
Eating, mating people, marriage life is recommended. But honestly speaking, one has to be honest with himself or herself. Especially, marriage is recommended for ladies and renunciation is recommended for gents. But if you can avoid those stereotypes, because they're the needs of the body, tolerate, tam titikshasva bharata. If you can tolerate and go on with your Krishna conscious activities, and you get mercy by that, you receive Krishna's mercy, you'll be able to go forward. One time Bhakti Charaswami said, without Krishna's mercy, we cannot go forward in brahmachari life. We need Krishna's grace. Because material energy is powerful. She is Krishna's material energy. Krishna means infinite, so she has infinite power. So we have to be, without Krishna's grace, we cannot fight with material energy. So, does it answer your question? Thank you. Any other question or comment? Maharaj, you want to add anything? So Maharaj wants to add something. You want to add anything? So give it to Maharaj.
A couple of verses ago, Prabhupada talked about the whole idea of using the small way to find, what's that? It's off? Okay. Is it on now? Okay. So, a couple of verses ago, in the purport, Prabhupada was talking about how the boy and the girl would get matched according to astrological configuration. Of course, I don't know if anybody does this these days, and it's interesting that he puts in there that if one should find a suitable boy or girl, in one Purport Prabhupada said that, that devotee boys should find a nice devotee girl, and a demon boy should find a nice demon girl. He puts it that way. And that because if they're compatible, then they can work together. Of course, nobody's 100% compatible. There's always going to be struggle. And as Prabhupada mentions also, this whole theme is from this part of the Bhagavatam about Kardamuni wanting to become married. So, he asks Krishna to supply a proper spouse, if it is Krishna's desire. So this is the key thing here, that Kardamuni is leaving it up to Krishna. If Krishna feels that it's the right thing for him to have a spouse, then Krishna will produce the spouse. If not, then Kardamuni is also satisfied. He's not going to go bar hopping or go to Tinder or something like that. There's none of those kind of necessities. Rather, and I think this is kind of the difficulty of waiting for Krishna to make the arrangement, and then there will never be a perfect arrangement. So if the coming together of the boy and the girl is done on the basis of sense gratification, then certainly the marriage will dissolve, because sense gratification disappears after a short time. And when sense gratification disappears, then the reason for the marriage also disappears, But if the boy and the girl, they come together, and they come together with the idea of serving Krishna, and knowing that in this way they can cooperate and help each other to have a family, bring up children, etc., then there will be a purpose that's beyond just sense gratification. They're pleasing Krishna, and in this way they can be partners in spiritual life, and sometimes people need that partnership.
So is that the reason why today's marriages fail? Because it's based on sense gratification?
Yeah, exactly. And most people just assume that the reason I'm marrying this boy or I'm marrying this girl is because they attract my senses. And that will only last so long. That's the nature of the way sense gratification works, that the same person will not dazzle your senses for very long, maybe a few months at the best. And then when that fades, then it's all over. There's that famous country song, "We got married in a fever hotter than a pepper sprout." We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. So evidently in the South there's a city, Jackson, where people go to get divorced. So that's the nature of a union based on sense gratification will always dissolve. But if there's the understanding that, okay, eventually the material desire will fade, but the commitment and the responsibility and the pleasure of Krishna won't fade, so if we'll base it on that, then the marriage will go forward in spite of all kinds of difficulties. And there will be difficulties. No matter who a person marries, there'll be difficulties. Older times, the parents would use astrology and link up the girl and the boy. These days, people like to pick their own poison, so it works out in some kind of other way. So, but however, we come together, that should be the understanding that we're trying to find someone who can be a partner and someone that will mutually understand that the basis of the marriage is for being cooperating to serve Krishna, and to bring Krishna conscious children into the world, etc.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Gandhara Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Excuse me if I have spoken anything wrong as your servant. Hare Krishna.